Hello there, peoples! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. It's me, it's AOB coming back at you with yet another video! How do you diddly do? With the release of Zack Snyder's Justice League, I'm gonna rank all the DCEU movies from my least favourite to my favourite. This is a video I've been meaning to do for a long time. There's no better time than now, really, is there? So I'm gonna finally do it. This is gonna be a fun ranking. So at the bottom of my list, it's funny, this wasn't initially at the bottom of my list. There was one film that I had above this in terms of being my least favourite, but ever since the release of Zack Snyder's Justice League, the theatrical cut, but yeah, this is fallen way down at the bottom. This is my least favourite DCEU movie. I'm never gonna watch this again. I have no reason to come to this film ever again. When Zack Snyder's Justice League came out, it was amazing, it was spectacular, I adored it. It was the Justice League film we all wanted. So the theatrical cut just exists now, and I have absolutely no reason to go back and watch it. I'm never gonna watch it again. It's a shambles. It's as I said in my review for the Zack Snyder Justice League, it's a mishmash of two creative visions that didn't mesh well. It's a mess. The reshoots are so obvious. The only part of that film that I remotely enjoyed was Henry Cavill's Superman. He was more light-hearted, he was being more like a Christopher Reeve type Superman, and I really enjoyed that part of the film. Everything else though, they butchered Batman. The Flash was annoying as fuck. Barely got to know Cyborg. And Steppenwolf, one of the worst villains we ever saw in a DCEU movie. Yeah. Like, I didn't hate this before. I thought it was quite rewatchable. And now with the release of Zack Snyder's Justice League, there's no need for this one anymore. This doesn't need to exist. Just erase all the copies that exist in the world. We don't need it anymore. This isn't canon in my head. I know that Zack Snyder's Justice League isn't technically canon with the DCEU. It's its own thing. But in my head, that's the canon version. That's the one. That's the main one. This doesn't exist to me. Coming up next, number 9 on my list is Suicide Squad. This is a slog, man. Suicide Squad is a slog. Before Zack Snyder's Justice League came out, this was actually at the bottom of my list. It was going to be this and then Justice League, but as I said, they've switched. Suicide Squad is it's clearly a product of a studio that panicked. They saw the critical reception that Batman v Superman was getting. It was too dark, it was too serious, too doom and gloom, and obviously they panicked and they chopped up this movie and edited it into this weird thing that it clearly wasn't supposed to be. Like, you could tell it was clearly supposed to be a lot darker than it was, and it's a mess. It's so hard to watch, man. I would really like to see the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. I would love to see what his original version was, because there was going to be so much more Joker and Harley Quinn. There was going to be sort of an abusive relationship there, because I saw set videos before Suicide Squad came out of Joker slapping Harley Quinn and stuff, but they ripped all that out. And yeah, this is just, the story doesn't make any sense. You get in a crew of criminals to potentially take on a Superman level threat. I mean, that idea on its own, that's fine, but a psychotic jester girl with a bat and a guy who throws boomerangs, a crocodile man, how are they going to take on a Superman level threat? Like, there's people who could potentially take on Superman in the squad, like El Diablo, who is one of the strongest parts of the film. He actually goes through an actual character arc, but it's a bit nonsensical, really. I mean, we did have the introduction of the greatest character in the world, Slipknot, the man who can climb anything. There are things that I really do like in this film. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, perfect. Absolutely adore her as Harley Quinn. Will Smith as Deadshot, I mean, he's great. He's being the charismatic Will Smith that we all know and love, but he's not Deadshot. He's just playing Will Smith playing Deadshot. But, you know, he's likeable in the film. I said this in my Justice League review. Jared Leto's Joker is easily my favourite parts of this film. I know, I said it before, I know I'm like the only person in the world who likes Jared Leto's Joker. But what can I say? The stuff with him in this really intrigued me. I wanted to see way more of him. Out of all the scenes in this film, the ones involving the Joker and Harley Quinn, or just the Joker on his own, were the ones that I were most interested in. What can I say? It's just, it is what it is. And you know, we got Enchantress. What a shite villain. Cara Delevingne, like, I haven't seen her in anything else really. So I'm not saying she's a bad actress, but in this, she was not good. Actually, do you know what? I actually will give Justice League this. I think the theatrical cut of Justice League I prefer Steppenwolf than I do Enchantress in this. But yeah, that's Suicide Squad. Yeah, I don't like Suicide Squad. Coming in at number 8 on my list, it is Wonder Woman 1984. I didn't manage to watch this for a while because I had no way of watching it. I don't have like Sky or anything, so I couldn't access it. I went in with low expectations because I had heard all the bad reviews. My dad watched it and he said it was terrible, so I went in with very low expectations. And it was better than I thought it was going to be, but it still wasn't. It was still a letdown. This film is really nonsensical. Like, don't get me wrong, Gal Gadot, or Gal Gadot, however you say her name, Gal Gadot is still perfect as Wonder Woman. She's amazing, she's easily the best part of this film, but man, the story's a bit nonsensical, and there's some questionable decisions in here that you think, what's going on here? Like, the whole Steve Trevor thing, it's good to see Steve Trevor back because the dynamic between him and Diana is great. They've got really good chemistry, and they had great chemistry in the first Wonder Woman, so bringing him back for this, I had no problems with that. It's just how they brought him back. Why did they bring Steve Trevor back in someone else's body? This Dreamstone is capable of granting any wish at all. It's capable of doing anything, so why couldn't it just bring Steve Trevor back from the dead like normal? It didn't make sense to me. And this film drags. It is long. It's 2.5 hours. And it drags. There was moments in this film where I was just feeling the pacing. I was just like, this is starting to drag a bit now. There's nothing going on here. Diana only suits up as Wonder Woman like 3 times in the film. Like, don't get me wrong, a superhero movie can still be good without the superhero gearing up in their superhero gear. Dark Knight Rises, for example. There's barely any Batman in that. Dark Knight Rises is great. I love that film. Iron Man 3. Tony Stark barely suits up as Iron Man in that, but I still love that film. But this is just, I noticed it more in this film. I noticed the lack of actual Wonder Woman action in this film. And the action is, compared to Wonder Woman 1, and especially compared to Zack Snyder's Justice League and even Batman v Superman, the Wonder Woman action in this isn't even that good. It doesn't hold up against these other films that she's been in. I will say, I liked the stuff with Barbara before she became Cheetah. I actually felt some sympathy for her in the lead up to her becoming Cheetah. But the moment she becomes Cheetah, that's when it falls off a cliff, man. What a waste of an iconic Wonder Woman villain. The CGI was terrible, and any sort of personality that Kristen Wiig had as Barbara just completely disappeared when she became Cheetah, and she just became this horrible CGI looking, from the musical film Cats, that horrific thing that exists, that's what she looked like. And even having the fight scene take place in the dark didn't mask the terrible CGI. I just thought this was a complete waste of an iconic Wonder Woman villain in Cheetah. I would have preferred that they just had Barbara as her normal self through this whole film, and then sort of tease her becoming Cheetah in a future film, rather than have her become Cheetah at the end of this. And then Maxwell Lord. Maxwell Lord was decent as a villain. He was a bit over the top. You could tell that Pedro Pascal was having fun with it. And they tried to give some depth to him. They tried to give some sort of sympathy towards him with his son. But his whole plan of becoming the Dreamstone, I felt that there was other ways of going about it rather than have you become the Dreamstone. I felt like there's something better he could have done. I just think the story and the plot of this is a bit nonsensical at points. But compared to the first Wonder Woman and all other appearances that Wonder Woman has had in the DCEU, this didn't really do her justice. This was a bit of a letdown. Coming in at number 7, it is going to be... Oh, I switched between these two. I'll say Birds of Prey. Okay, yeah, Birds of Prey. I like Birds of Prey quite a bit, actually. It might seem quite low on the list, but from here I actually enjoy these films a lot. Birds of Prey, it solidified why I liked Margot Robbie so much as Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad. It amplified that, and I know that they turned this into sort of DC's equivalent of Deadpool, and it is so obvious that they're trying to turn Harley Quinn into the Deadpool of the DC universe, but it worked for me in this film. The fourth wall breaking, Harley Quinn's narration, it worked for me. I really liked it. Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, I love her. And the action in this film in particular was fantastic. I think, did they get the John Wick stunt people to do the choreography for the fights in this? I could be wrong there, but I think I might have heard that somewhere. If so, you can tell, because this does have like great, well choreographed fights. Probably some of the best choreographed fights in terms of actual people, you know, hand-to-hand combating that we've had in the DCEU. I really do enjoy this film. Ewan McGregor's Black Mask. I absolutely adored Ewan McGregor in this film. He was spectacular as Roman Sionis. He was amazing in this film. He was hilarious, but he was also, man, you do not want to cross this guy. This guy is insane, and in not the kind of fun way. It is the kind of like I wouldn't want to be anywhere near this guy. I wouldn't even want to be in the same city as this guy. But he was also hilarious. I think Black Mask might be potentially my favourite villain in the DCEU so far. I absolutely loved him. He was the perfect mix of hilarious and insane at the same time. I really liked Black Canary and Huntress as well. In particular Huntress. I like what they did with Huntress. Could have done with more of her, but Huntress was actually really great in this film as well. The only thing I didn't care for was the whole plot surrounding the diamond and being swallowed by the little girl. I forget her name. And she can't shit it out. No, I draw the line at little girls not being able to shit out diamonds. That I could have done without that. And I do wish we got another appearance from Jared Leto's Joker. I feel like they really did him dirty. I feel like they really screwed Jared Leto over here. We saw like a body double from the back in a flashback, and that was about it. I feel like if Jared Leto was going to appear in anything, it would have been this. It would have made more sense. I feel like it would have added more to, you know, the actual breakup that Harley Quinn and Joker go through. We just hear about the breakup in the film. We don't actually see it. It would have been better to see the breakup rather than just hear about it. But yeah, I really enjoyed Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipations of one Harley Quinn. I got that right, didn't I? I think I did. Okay, coming in at number 6, it is going to be Aquaman. It's a cheese fest, but I loved it when I was watching it in the cinema. I had a great time. The effects, man, the effects in this film are spectacular. And the action as well. Man, the action is great in this. I loved Atlantis and the action and all that stuff. I love the dynamic between Arthur and Orm, Ocean Master, in this as well. I feel like Ocean Master was actually a pretty decent villain in this. I liked the dynamic between those two. Jason Momoa as well. He is so charismatic. He is tremendous as Aquaman. I couldn't see anyone else playing Aquaman other than him now. He was great, and I am really looking forward to a sequel, which we'll inevitably get. Black Manta as well. Black Manta was done incredible in this film. He looks the part, and I really liked the setup between him and Black Manta, and the setup for Black Manta in the future films as well. Black Manta was terrific. The one thing that I really didn't buy in this film was the whole romance between Mera and Aquaman. I was buying it up to a point. I really believed their relationship up until it started becoming romantic. When they were just sort of bantering back and forth in the early stages of the film, like the first half of the film, and they were just friends sort of bantering back and forth, I really liked that. But the moment it became romantic, that's when it fell off for me. I didn't buy the relationship at all. The romance just felt really forced, and it felt like it was just there because we need a romance. Willem Dafoe was great in this film as well. I loved Volko in this film. Some of the acting was a bit off, especially the guy who plays teenage Arthur. That man was terrible. Did they hold auditions? Like, he's only in the one scene. Was he in one or two scenes? I can't remember. But those scenes really stick out to me. And not in a good way. But I do really enjoy Aquaman. Coming up next is Shazam! Ooh! Shazam used to be way higher on this list. This film is just fun, and I hate using the word fun to describe a film because it is the most boring way to describe a film. I don't know what other word there is to describe Shazam. It was ecstatic. Is that better? All the bits where Shazam is on screen doing his thing. It's great. I absolutely love this. And it hits you in the feels too, this film, man. The whole family dynamic, man, this hits him in the feels. I teared up a few times. But Zachary Levi, whenever he's on screen as Shazam, I am in it, man. I am in it. All the screens where Shazam is on, I'm locked in. I even really liked Mark Strong as Dr. Savannah. He was really good in this. Yes, he was a bit of a generic villain, but I don't know, I really did like him in this film. He was really quite imposing. Like, you could tell Billy Batson, even when he is Shazam, struggles to take this guy on. So I really did like that aspect. And I really liked the 7 Deadly Sins as well. I was really into that. The biggest criticism I do have for this film, though, is when Billy Batson becomes Shazam, they don't feel like they're the same person. The Shazam version of Billy Batson is a completely different character to the kid version of Billy Batson. Billy Batson, when he's a kid, he's a bit more mature than you'd expect someone to be at that age. But then when he's Shazam, he suddenly becomes your standard immature sort of teenage kid. They just didn't really feel like they were the same character. That's the only real problem I've got with this film. And in the final act, I enjoyed it at first with the whole Shazam family, or the Shazamly, I like to call it. But it did start to drag a bit after a point. But besides that, I love Shazam. And I really cannot wait for Fury of the Gods to come out. And I really can't wait for Black Adam as well. I really hope that Shazam and Black Adam are actually going to cross over at some point, because these two are very well-known adversaries. And Black Adam's getting a solo movie. Doesn't seem to be any word on Shazam being in that. And Fury of the Gods, the Shazam sequel, there doesn't seem to be any word of Black Adam being in that. Can we not prolong Black Adam and Shazam meeting, please? Can we not have a repeat of Ben Affleck's Batman and Jared Leto's Joker, where we've got two iconic enemies in the same franchise, but they don't meet? Can we not do that with Black Adam and Shazam? Let's have them face off at one point, yeah? But yeah, that's where Shazam is on this list. Coming in at number 4, it is Wonder Woman. I love this film. I love the World War I setting. I love the dynamic between him and Steve Trevor. I loved all the side characters as well. The chemistry between Chris Pine and Gal Gadot is great. One of the better romances that we have had in a superhero movie, to be honest. And I love the whole fish out of water stuff, but mainly as well is the action. Like the No Man's Land scene alone in Wonder Woman. That scene is iconic. That scene will go down in history. Like 20 years from now, that is going to be a scene that I could very well see being repeated. It's going to be a pop culture phenomenon. Gal Gadot, again, she proves why she is so amazing as Wonder Woman. She is terrific. The setup for Themyscira was done perfectly. I just loved everything about this film, apart from the final act. I don't hate it as much as a lot of other people do. Like, I don't mind it, but it is just sort of there for the sake of being there. Diana needs to take on a big CGI thing to have a very climactic battle so that everybody's satisfied. It does feel like that's just there for the sake of that being there. To be honest, as a fight, I don't mind it, but it's definitely the least compelling part of the film for me. But I do love Wonder Woman, one of my favourites. Coming in at number 3 is Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. This film has skyrocketed for me, honest to God. I've been hard on this film in the past on this channel. When I did a video talking about versus movies, and I kind of bashed this film a bit. And I didn't mean to bash it as much as I did, because I love Batman v Superman, and I really did come across like I hated the film in that, and I didn't even hate it. I liked it a lot. The more I watch Batman v Superman, the more I love it. I can't explain, I don't know why. And it also helps that we did get the release of Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is the true continuation of the story that was set up in Batman v Superman, and that's just made this film shoot even higher up for me. The biggest reason that Batman v Superman was low for me was of all the stuff that it set up that just ended up getting cancelled and just we didn't see come to fruition. Whereas Zack Snyder's Justice League came out and we did get a continuation and we saw more of what was initially set up. Yes, Zack Snyder's Justice League also did a lot of setup, but also at the same time, that felt like a satisfying story on its own. Batman v Superman was very much sort of setting up future stuff rather than telling its own sort of story. But man, the more I watch it, the more I love it. Ben Affleck is spectacular. I said this in my Zack Snyder Justice League review. He's my favourite on-screen version of Batman. I know he kills, okay? I get that. He's not completely faithful as a Batman from comic to screen, but the way he looks, the way he acts, how imposing he is just spectacular. And yeah, the killing will get on people's nerves, and I understand that, but the killing doesn't bother me as much just because I love how he is as Batman and Bruce Wayne. And Henry Cavill as Superman, I do love Henry Cavill in this film, but unfortunately he was a bit overshadowed by Ben Affleck's Batman in this. This was more of a Batman movie than it was a Superman movie. I'm talking about the Ultimate Edition specifically of Batman v Superman, but yeah, I don't know. The more I watch it, the more I love it, and there are still things that I have issues with. Lex Luthor's plan makes no sense. The fight begins because Lex Luthor has kidnapped Martha and he says, "You gotta go kill the bat, bring me the bat's head or I'll kill Martha," and that's why they fight. Just overcomplicating why Batman and Superman fight. I just wish that it was a bit simpler. Just have them fight because they disagree with each other. I would have just preferred that rather than just having Lex be involved and having Lex try and pull the strings and be involved and get the fight to happen. It bothers me. And Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, I mean, we got the introduction to Wonder Woman in this as well. I still get chills when she appears in this film. I said it in my Zack Snyder review. She is amazing in this film, especially when she turns up in the final act. I'm surprised at how naturally she fits into this film. The final act doesn't even bother me that much. I actually don't mind the final battle between Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman and Doomsday. I just wish they didn't do the death of Superman in this. It didn't feel earned at all. We were only two movies into the DCEU at this point and you already did the death of Superman. You didn't need to do this. That's the biggest thing that bothers me. I just wish they did something else. It wasn't like Tony Stark's death in Endgame. It didn't feel earned at all. But yeah, Batman v Superman, I don't know what it is. It just gets better and better the more I watch it. And yeah, it is what it is. Shoot me if you want. Coming in at number 2, it is Man of Steel. I have loved this film ever since I watched it, and I still love it to this day. It's a terrific Superman movie. And it's a terrific setup for a cinematic universe. Like, it lays a perfect foundation for future films to be in this universe. It is like the first Iron Man in that respect. Like, it's not shoehorning in references to other things in the universe here and there. It's a great solo film in its own right, with room for expansion to other franchises in this universe. Love it. I think it's a great first installment for the DC extended universe. I find this film so incredibly rewatchable. That's why it's so high on here mainly. Because as soon as Zod comes into the picture, the film's just like 100 miles an hour. It's just non-stop action after action after action. Most films where it's just sort of non-stop, it just gets right into it. I'm there. I'm easily entertained. You know what I mean? Yeah, I do. I love Man of Steel. General Zod is a terrific villain. I love I love what they did with Krypton in this. The opening with Krypton and sending Kal-El away. I loved Russell Crowe's Jor-El. I loved Kevin Costner's Jonathan Kent. I liked the clash of ideologies where Jonathan was very much of, you need to keep this a secret. Jor-El was very much like, no, you can use this to do good, you can help the world. Like, this is the best Superman action we've gotten in a film so far, I think. Don't get me wrong, I love Christopher Reeve's Superman. I do. I love Superman 1 and 2. But they are dated, they are of the time, and you couldn't get the Superman action you'd maybe like in a Superman movie. This delivers on that, even more so than Superman Returns, I'd say. And I know people's biggest criticism is the destruction of Metropolis between Superman and Zod, but to be honest, it didn't bug me that much. In a lot of the animated Superman stuff, like a lot of the animated Superman films or animated DC films that have Superman, there are huge battles with Superman and an enemy that destroy the city, and nobody complains about that. He literally gets his Superman suit for the first time, and then basically the moment it happens, that's when Zod turns up and causes shit to happen. Superman wasn't really prepared for this. He wasn't really eased into it. He didn't take on anybody really before Zod came into the fray. He got his costume, Zod came in, and he was like, oh shit, I gotta take this guy down. He was thrown right into the deep end basically before he could even get used to his powers or get used to anything. Yeah, I'm just trying to justify why the destruction of Metropolis, I accept it, basically. But yeah, that's where Man of Steel is on this list. I love Man of Steel. And coming in at number 1, to nobody's surprise, it's Zack Snyder's Justice League. I said it in my review, this is the magnum opus of the DCEU. This is the Infinity War and Endgame of the DCEU. This is the Justice League movie we wanted. This is a Justice League movie we needed. It was epic. The characters were done justice. But I can't talk about it too much because, like I said, I just literally did a video on it. Zack Snyder's Justice League is easily the best DCEU movie in my opinion. Even though it's 4 hours long, it didn't feel 4 hours long when I was watching it. I wasn't ready for it to finish when it did. I just wanted so much more of it. And I just had an amazing time with this film. As I said, it is the Infinity War and Endgame of this. It's the closest thing we're going to get. It's the Justice League movie we wanted. It's the Justice League movie we deserved. It was, what can I say? I was incredibly happy with Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League. And I just hope that we can get a continuation of it, even though it doesn't seem likely at this point, because Warner Brothers are fucking idiots. But yeah, didn't talk about that one for very long. If you want to hear my thoughts on it, I just did a video on it. Yeah, that's my DCEU ranking video, ladies and gentlemen. I know that this list will probably be drastically different to a lot of people's out there. Put your rankings down below in the comments, and give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Give it a thumbs down if you didn't. Hell, I won't hold it against you. And hell, if you want, not forcing you, press the subscribe button if you want. You know, it's there. There's an option. That's all I'm saying is that there's an option if you want to see more of me rambling on and talking shit. But yes, thank you very much for tuning into my DCEU ranking. Have a wonderful day as always, ladies and gentlemen. And ciao for now.